The final whistle echoed through the Olympia Stadion in Berlin, and a wave of emotion flooded the air. Paris Saint-Germain had done it at last. After decades of chasing Europe's grandest prize, they were finally crowned kings of the UEFA Champions League. The scoreboard glowed mercilessly, 5-0 against Inter Milan. For the Parisian Giants, it was not just a win, it was a statement that reverberated far beyond football. In the stands, PSG fans erupted into unfiltered joy, their flags dancing against the night sky. Chants of Paris Magique thundered like rolling drums, bouncing from terrace to terrace. The players embraced in tears and laughter, Neymar Jr. collapsing onto the turf with his arms raised toward the heavens. Even Lionel Messi, calm in triumph, broke into a grin that fans will never forget. The night felt like destiny fulfilled. The celebration spilled out of Berlin and flowed like a tidal wave back home to Paris. Within minutes of the final whistle, thousands of supporters gathered at the Champs-Élysées, singing, drumming, and lighting flares in a carnival of color. The Eiffel Tower glowed in PSG's blue and red, shimmering as if Paris itself had joined the party. Helicopters hovered overhead, their searchlights painting streaks across the jubilant crowd. For Parisians, this was more than a football match. It was redemption, release, and relief all at once. The club's years of heartbreak, near misses, and criticism dissolved in one glorious night. Streets buzzed with horns, confetti floated like snowflakes, and strangers hugged one another with tears in their eyes. It felt as though every corner of the capital had been swallowed by one collective heartbeat. Yet jubilation quickly teetered into chaos. As the crowd swelled, tension simmered, and celebrations twisted into unrest. Fireworks exploded overhead, but below, clashes began between groups of fans and police officers deployed to maintain order. Riot shields clattered, smoke grenades hissed, and the streets of Paris transformed from a carnival into a battleground within hours. Vehicles parked along the boulevards were overturned and set ablaze, their flames licking the night sky. The scent of burning rubber and gasoline filled the air as sirens wailed relentlessly. Shards of glass crunched underfoot as storefronts were smashed open, some looted in the confusion. What began as an unforgettable evening for the sport threatened to scar the city's memory with violence. The French authorities were caught in a difficult balance, managing a national outpouring of joy while trying to contain the lawlessness. Reports confirmed over 500 people were arrested as clashes intensified near Place de la Concorde and around Gare du Nord. Officers wielding batons and tear gas struggled to disperse the unruly crowd, their shouts drowned by the chants and chaos around them. Amid the mayhem, tragedy struck. Local media reported at least 2 deaths linked to the violence. One, a young fan caught in a street clash, another in a horrific fire sparked by an overturned vehicle. The grim toll stained the otherwise historic night, sparking urgent calls for calm. What should have been Paris's proudest moment became laced with grief and sorrow. Players still in Berlin were briefed about the scenes unraveling back home. Captain Marquinhos, with a medal around his neck, expressed heartbreak at the news. "We wanted to bring joy, not suffering," he said, visibly shaken during post-match interviews. The PSG camp dedicated the trophy to the fans, but pleaded for peace, hoping the chaos would not overshadow their accomplishment. International broadcasters carried split screens, one side showing jubilant PSG players lifting the famous trophy aloft, the other flashing images of burning cars and police in formation on Parisian avenues. The contrast was haunting, a reminder of how sport can unite but also ignite raw emotions beyond control.
In neighborhoods far from the chaos, many Parisians still found ways to celebrate peacefully. Families gathered round TVs, singing along with chants, children wearing oversized jerseys grinning at their heroes. For them, the violence felt distant, overshadowed by the pride of seeing their city finally reach football's summit. Government officials, however, could not ignore the devastation. France's interior minister condemned the violence, promising swift investigations into the destruction. At the same time, he praised police for their tireless efforts, noting the sheer scale of the challenge they faced that night. The tragedy added fresh weight to the debate over security at mass celebrations in the capital. For PSG's ownership and board, the victory was both validation and vindication. Years of enormous investment, criticism about buying success, and endless speculation were answered with one emphatic result. The club's dream was complete, but even in triumph, executives expressed sorrow at the events in Paris, urging the fan base to cherish the win responsibly. The victory itself was monumental, a masterclass of dominance. Kylian Mbappe's brilliance tore through Inter's defense. Messi orchestrated plays with effortless genius, and Gianluigi Donnarumma stood unyielding between the posts. 5 goals later, Inter Milan looked shell-shocked, while PSG stood radiant, their destiny finally realized after years of falling short. European football's landscape shifted that night. PSG, once mocked as perennial underachievers, now sat at the table of legends alongside Real Madrid, AC Milan, and Bayern Munich. The long chase for respect was over. Paris had finally etched its name into Champions League history. Fans worldwide acknowledged the magnitude, even if chaos marred the celebrations. In Paris, however, recovery would take time. Charred vehicles lined certain streets, graffiti-covered walls, and the scars of the unrest remained visible in the daylight. Shopkeepers swept up shattered glass with weary hands, sighing as they watched cleaners hose down debris. For many locals, the price of victory felt unfairly steep. Despite the turmoil, voices of hope echoed through the city. Community leaders called for unity, reminding Parisians that football was meant to inspire, not destroy. Social media buzzed with messages of solidarity, fans posting photos of peaceful moments from the night, families singing on balconies, children waving flags by the same. These fragments offered a softer lens on the chaos. For the players and staff, the return to Paris was bittersweet. As their victory parade rolled through the streets under heavy security, cheers mixed with unease. Fans waved passionately, but the shadow of the previous night's violence lingered. The moment was joyous yet fragile, as if the city itself could not decide between celebration and mourning. Historians and pundits will no doubt remember this final as a turning point for PSG and for Paris itself. A night of sporting immortality, but also a lesson about the fragile line between passion and destruction. The City of Lights witnessed its brightest glow and its darkest smoke in the span of hours. In the end, the image that will endure may not be the burning cars or the shattered glass. Instead, it will be the sight of PSG's players, arms interlocked, hoisting the Champions League trophy to the heavens at last. Paris, with all its scars and splendor, had reached the peak. Yet the question remains, can joy ever come without chaos in the city of eternal fire?